Let's get into this Ben Avery and Tim Dillon drama, huh?
This we should have started the episode with this. Our friend Steve Will Do It's YouTube channel was deleted. This is really sad. Now, by the way, I know that you and him always kid around with each other, and he calls you racist, and you go, "You're racist." But don't you think that was inappropriate to write on his post?
No, that's his thing. That's what he does.
No, but his entire livelihood was taken from him today by YouTube. And then you comment you're racist. It's like not the day to joke.
Oh, you're upset with me?
No, I'm not upset with you. I'm just really like, do you not understand why that?
So he goes, "Are you upset with me?" And he goes, "No, I'm not upset with you, but Tim Dillon is very upset, and he's a passive-aggressive piece of shit." I was liking Tim Dillon, but this makes me not like Tim Dillon. This makes me hate Tim Dillon. The dynamic between Tim Dillon and Ben Avery worked because when Ben Avery laughed, that means Ben Avery was in on the joke. It was okay because Ben Avery made it cool. But Tim Dillon is such a fucking piece of shit bully. He likes to punch down. This piece of shit bully likes to punch down. He's not going to give it to the presidents or the oligarchs or the plutocrats. No sirree, Bob. No sirree, Bob. He wants to dance and shuck and jive for the Donald Trumps of the world. But when it comes to a working class, regular guy, Ben Avery, you can tell exactly how a person is by how they treat, the wait staff. You can tell exactly who the fuck Tim Dillon is with the way that he treats Ben Avery. Now, he's been a dick to Ben Avery before, but because Ben Avery just laughed it off, and he's totally right about this, last speech where he's sitting there saying that he's agreeable. He's over the top when it comes to how agreeable he is when it, to Tim Dillon. Maybe that's the dynamic. That's what Tim Dillon was paying for, but that's, okay, so we're going to listen to some more of this, but he set up the thing. Tim Dillon is saying there's a guy named Mike, and you had tweeted, he lost his entire YouTube thing, and he said, well, it's because you're racist or something. And was he joking? Was he not joking? And he was like, today's just not the day. And what do you mean today's not the day? Tim Dillon just wants to be a piece of shit to Ben Avery for whatever reason. He just talked to Louis C.K. Louis C.K. likes to fuck over young aspiring people. Louis C.K. tried to fuck over Jimmy Fallon. He was on the Jimmy Fallon show, and then eventually once you get on the Tonight Show, then you find out that Louis C.K. tried to fuck you over on, some sketch comedy show a long time ago. Oh, really? Fucking creepy ass middle-aged fucking pile of shit. Looked at Jimmy Fallon and was like, oh no, he's young and up and coming, so he needs to, knock him down a peg or two, like the pile of shit that he is. I defended Louis C.K. at first, but you know what? I'm kind of mixed. Louis C.K. is a bit of a piece of shit. He is a bit of a piece of shit.
Time to make a joke when someone's entire livelihood is taken from them.
I mean, there were millions of people saying, "I'm so sorry, that's so fucked," and I just thought if I threw in one thing, it might make him smile. That was all.
No, I don't know. Not today.
Not today, he says. Not today. No, we don't want him to smile. No, we don't want him to smile. Not today. Tim Dillon wants to be a piece of shit, and he wants to condescend and talk down to Ben Avery. Right at the top of the fucking thing, too, so he's just being a piece of shit right at the fucking top. It makes me wonder if he's just doing this intentionally to get him to quit instead of just saying, Ben Avery, why don't you quit? Later on, he's going to say that he offered Ben Avery a lot of money, but he just turned it down because of morals and shit or something. Tim Dillon, okay, so let's break this down a little bit. He's trying to say Mike lost his YouTube, whoever this Mike guy lost his YouTube channel, and he goes, that's because you're racist, right? That's what Ben Avery had said, and he only got 21 likes about it. Tim Dillon is being such a piece of shit, just a twat. Tim Dillon, his whole comedy is about him saying the most inappropriate shit all the fucking time. And it's, it's refreshing. But for Tim Dillon to sit there and try to say that, and you heard what he said, Ben Avery, he had said that he made the joke to liven this situation up. Maybe make him smile. Maybe make Mike smile. But there's so many fucking things. Tim Dillon, okay, so Tim Dillon is going to be, he's the captain of the morality squad. He's a police officer. He's the fucking Supreme Court justice. And he paid Ben Avery to not, be a producer, but basically be his fucking whipping boy, just to insult him. So what kind of fucking piece of shit needs a whipping boy? What kind of piece of shit needs a giggler? What kind of piece of shit says, okay, I just want you to sit right here and just laugh at my jokes, but don't participate in the conversation? No, you sit this one out. So Tim Dillon's also all about Russia bombing Ukraine. So when it comes to, he just lost, his entire livelihood, probably not the best time to make a joke when a person loses their entire livelihood. Tim Dillon, you got all those Ukrainians that are getting murdered. They're getting fucking bombed into oblivion, bombed into pieces. So they're not just losing their livelihood, they're losing their fucking lives, and they're losing their neighbors and families and friends and villages. But he was like, what can you do? Well, we're supposed to fight for Latvia. We're supposed to fight for Estonia. We're not going to fight for Latvia. I'm not going to fight and die for Estonia. Even though they're a part of NATO, which means as Americans, we have a fucking alliance with those countries. But not Tim Dillon. Not Tim Dillon. If the people of Latvia or Estonia get invaded by France, Tim Dillon don't give a shit. He's just going to turn his back to the entire nation. Ukraine's only, 75 million fucking people? So he wants to turn his back on 75 million motherfucking people and then pretend that this guy, Mike, who I guess apparently pays him ad revenue, which I guess is what he was maybe thinking of, his pocketbook or something. I don't know. I think Ben Avery was right. If he was just say racist, they call each other racist. If that's the fucking thing that they do, then that's the fucking thing that they do. And if he didn't think it was a funny fucking joke, how the fuck can he stand himself? He's the most inappropriate motherfucker ever, But that's like his comedy is sarcasm, and you say inappropriate shit because it kind of reflects, when you say over the top. He was asking for money too, and he was sitting there saying, I don't care about your life. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. And then ultimately, he does care. Mike, no, this Mike. And then, Ben Avery apologizes. Ben Avery apologizes. He goes, I fucked up, I'll do better.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, and we are all at a different level of social intelligence, and,
Was he upset?
I don't think he was upset. I don't even know if he saw it. I just saw it, and I thought it was odd. It was weird. It was not the day for it. It was not the day to do the joke.
That's my bad.
Very upset. Not about your comment, but about what was going on. You got to read the room a little bit. You got to read the room a little bit. Not when someone has lost their entire livelihood. But that's okay. You and social cues are not the greatest of friends. You live in a town.
So there he is, Tim Dillon saying you and social cues. So he's being a piece of shit. He is just shitting on him like Ben Avery's the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. And the only reason it was funny was because Ben Avery would laugh, and so it's like, okay, they're friends. This is what. But no, Tim Dillon's a piece of shit. Tim Dillon is just a piece of shit. You and social cues on Twitter? What social cues are there on fucking Twitter? And then listen to him later on, because he's going to say, Tim Dillon's never inappropriate. Tim Dillon is always on the up and up. And Tim Dillon is basically the ambassador of, what's that, reform school, or what do they call that, prim and proper etiquette school. He's the captain of the etiquette squad there, so he's Mr. Etiquette. I kind of like his style, his demeanor. It's like he goes 90 miles per hour, and it's like, shit, is that what you got to do in order to succeed in America, to go 90 miles per hour? But Tim Dillon isn't 100%, and if anything, he's more like 10%. He's 10%, and that's the good thing about this Ben Avery. I like comedians who punch up. I like, making fun of the rich and the powerful and the authoritarian and the fascist sons of bitches. But the punching down bullshit. He's acting like he's the producer and that, he was punching up when he was sitting there insulting Ben Avery. You weren't punching up, motherfucker. You were punching down. And then Louis C.K. was like, every time you told him to shut up, I thought that was funny, which is sick as fuck. That's sick as fuck. Louis C.K. is kind of a terrible influence. Makes me wonder about Ricky Gervais. He used to have this podcast where they would just shit on this, one guy, Pinkerton or something, Steve Pinkerton. And basically he's just like, oh my, like he's just rolling his eyes constantly at the guy like he was the dumbest motherfucker ever. But he was actually the one that was interesting and would say some. Anyways. Just makes me wonder if Louis C.K. just goes into people's organizations and is like, hey, man, remember when you told Ben Avery to shut the hell up? Oh, I like that shit. Yeah, give me some more of that shit. Keep telling that fucking regular guy to shut up. Is that what Louis C.K. thinks is fucking funny? Frankly, if you're going to have a punch down joke, it must be perfect. It's got to be perfect. Frank Reynolds had this one joke about how he's driving in a limo and he sees a homeless guy and he has this balloon, this water balloon, and he fills it up with champagne and he throws a water balloon of champagne at a homeless guy as he's driving by. And the reason why he throws a water balloon full of champagne and he throws it at him because he wants just a little bit of taste to get on the homeless guy, but he don't want him to actually drink any of the champagne. So he drives by and he throws the water balloon of champagne and he says, why don't you get a taste of the good life?